All right, let's dive in. We're tackling Find Your Why by Simon Sinek today.
Oh, good one.
Yeah, and we've got this awesome podcast episode that really breaks it down.
I listened to that one too. It's good.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about all that good stuff, but honestly, just hearing them talk about it made me think.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I have a good grasp on the concept, but I don't know if I've ever, sat down and done the work
Yeah.
to, figure out my why.
Right.
And I love how they talk about reverse engineering it
Yes.
from your best life moments.
Yeah, like working backwards.
Yeah.
From those peak experiences
Exactly.
to uncover what's driving you.
That's so cool.
Love that approach.
Yeah.
So much easier than trying to come up with it out of thin air.
Totally. So for our listener who's like, okay, find my why, what is that?
Right.
Why should I care?
Yeah. So your why is basically your purpose, your reason for being.
Okay.
What gets you out of bed in the morning?
Yeah.
What makes you feel like you're making a difference?
Yeah. All right.
And I think especially these days when so many people are feeling kind of lost
Totally.
or
Yeah.
just stuck in a rut,
Yeah.
having a strong sense of purpose, it's like an anchor, It gives you direction.
Yeah, like a compass.
Yeah, and
It's pointing you in the right direction.
exactly. It helps you make decisions.
Yeah.
Stay motivated and, weather those storms.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the book talks about this why discovery process.
Yeah.
So what's that all about?
It's all about self-reflection, really taking a deep dive into your experiences.
Yeah. Okay.
And trying to uncover hidden patterns that reveal your why.
So journaling and stuff?
Yeah, journaling can be a part of it, but Sinek really emphasizes partnering up with someone
Oh, interesting.
for this process.
Okay.
They act as a kind of mirror,
Right.
reflecting back things you might miss.
Like a thought partner.
Exactly, and helping you connect the dots.
Oh, so it's less about sitting alone in a room?
Yeah.
And more about bouncing ideas off someone?
Exactly. It's a much more dynamic process that way.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are some of the steps involved?
Well, one of the coolest exercises is all about reflecting on what we've been calling peak moments.
Right.
Remember those times in your life when you felt like you were totally in your element,
Yeah.
totally engaged, like you're firing on all cylinders?
Yeah.
Those are gold mines of information.
Oh, okay.
By analyzing those peak moments,
Okay.
you can start to pinpoint consistent values and themes that point towards your why.
So what were you doing during those moments?
Exactly. Who were you with?
Uh-huh.
What was the environment like?
Yeah.
What needs were you meeting?
Yeah.
All of those details can provide clues.
Oh, I like that.
And the book talks about storytelling too.
Oh, really?
That's a big part of it.
Okay.
You share meaningful stories from your life with your partner.
Uh-huh.
And within those stories often lie the keys to your deepest motivations.
That's cool. I'm starting to see how powerful this could be.
It's really amazing what can come up when you start sharing and reflecting with someone you trust.
And the book talks about vulnerability being a big part of this process.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to be open and honest with yourself and especially with your partner.
Yeah, it can be scary to be that vulnerable.
For sure.
But Sinek argues that true purpose often emerges from those moments of struggle or resilience.
Oh, that's interesting.
By examining the times when we were challenged,
Mm-hmm.
we
Yeah.
discover what truly matters to us,
Right.
what we're willing to fight for.
Yeah, and I think that's where some of the best stories come from.
Totally. He shares a ton of real-life examples in the book.
Like what?
Well, there's one about a CEO
Yeah.
who initially thought his company's purpose was all about, profits and growth.
Yeah, the bottom line.
Exactly. But through this why discovery process, he realized his true purpose was creating a culture where his employees felt valued and empowered.
Right.
And the impact was incredible.
Oh, wow.
Turnover decreased, productivity soared, employee satisfaction went through the roof.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a perfect example of how finding your why
Yeah.
can have a ripple effect,
Totally.
transforming not only your life, but the lives of those around you.
And it's not just about warm and fuzzy feelings either. It actually led to business success.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a powerful reminder that purpose and profit aren't mutually exclusive.
Right.
In fact, they can often complement and reinforce each other.
I love that.
Yeah. And, speaking of purpose,
Yeah.
I think it's really important to distinguish it from goals.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
People often can confuse the two.
Definitely.
Goals are those specific things we want to achieve,
Right.
like getting a promotion or buying a house.
Yeah.
But your why is the underlying reason behind those goals.
Like the fuel.
Exactly. Goals can be temporary. You achieve one and then you move on to the next.
Yeah.
But your purpose, that's what gives your actions meaning.
Right.
That's what keeps you going even when things get tough.
It's like the North Star.
Exactly. It's that guiding principle that helps you make decisions.
Right.
Stay motivated and feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
No matter what goals you're pursuing.
So find your why. It's not just about like checking things off a to-do list.
No, not at all.
It's about understanding the deeper motivations behind what you do.
Exactly.
And using that knowledge to create a life that feels truly meaningful.
It's about finding that sweet spot where your passions and values align with your actions.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. The importance of finding your why.
Yeah.
The why discovery process. The role of vulnerability, real-life examples, and the difference between purpose and goals.
A lot of good stuff.
Yeah. But for like our listener who's like ready to jump in, what are some key takeaways and action steps?
Okay, so one of the most important things is to make time for daily reflection.
Okay.
Even if you haven't read the book yet, you can start by just setting aside like 15 minutes each day to think about those peak moments we discussed.
Right.
Write them down. Look for those recurring themes and values that emerge.
Journaling, that's a good one.
Yeah, exactly. And remember, finding your why, it's a journey, not a destination.
Right.
It takes time and effort.
Yeah.
Don't get discouraged if it doesn't happen overnight.
Totally.
The key is to stay curious and keep exploring.
Like a deep dive.
Exactly. And if you can find a trusted partner to share your stories and reflections with,
that seems to be like a really crucial part of this.
it is. It's incredibly valuable to have that external perspective.
Yeah, and I think it's important to remember that your why can evolve over time.
Oh, for sure.
It's not set in stone.
No.
As you grow and change, your purpose may shift as well.
Absolutely.
And that's perfectly okay.
What's important is that you stay open to that evolution.
Yeah.
And continue to seek alignment between your actions and your deepest values.
Well said. All right. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
We have.
Into find your why. But we still have so much more to explore.
Yeah, like how this applies to teams and organizations.
Right, which we'll delve into in part 2.
Can't wait.
Yeah, me too. And in part 3, we're going to come back to all these action steps and give even more practical advice.
That's right.
So stay tuned, deep divers.
We'll be right back.
There's plenty more to uncover as we continue our exploration of Find Your Why.
And until then,
keep those peak moments in mind
Nice.
and start reflecting on what truly matters to you.
That's the first step.
Exactly. All right, we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
All right, so we've talked about how powerful finding your why can be for you personally.
Right.
But now I'm curious, like, how does all this apply to teams and organizations?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, because, most of us spend a huge chunk of our lives at work.
Totally. And Sinek actually dedicates a whole chapter to this in the book.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he argues that organizations, just like people, can have a why. A core purpose that guides everything they do.
So it's not just about personal fulfillment, it's about creating a work environment where everyone feels connected to something bigger.
Exactly. When teams share a common why, it creates this incredible sense of alignment and belonging.
Yeah.
People understand the why behind their work, and they feel more motivated and engaged.
Like they're all rowing in the same direction.
Exactly. It's like that old saying,
What's that?
if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together.
Yeah.
But it's not just about distance,
Right.
It's about going in the right direction together, fueled by a shared purpose.
I love that.
Yeah, and when an organization truly lives its why, it builds so much trust and loyalty, both with employees and customers.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, people can sense when a company is driven by something more than just profits.
Like they can sniff out the BS?
Yeah, exactly. They can feel the authenticity and passion.
Right.
And that resonates deeply.
Then I bet it makes people want to work there, too.
Absolutely. It's a huge draw for top talent.
Yeah.
So you might be wondering, okay, how does a team or organization even find their collective? Why?
Right, because it's not like you can just ask the CEO.
Yeah. It's a bit more complex than that.
Yeah, how do you get everyone on the same page?
Well, there are definitely some parallels to the individual process.
Okay.
Sinek suggests a similar approach of storytelling and reflection,
but
this time involving the entire team.
Okay.
Imagine a group of coworkers sharing stories about their most memorable work experiences, trying to find those common threads that reveal their shared why.
That's cool. So it's like a group why discovery session.
Exactly. And the book actually provides some really great templates and guidelines for these group discussions.
Oh, wow. So it's like super practical for leaders who want to try this.
Totally. It gives them a framework to follow.
Yeah.
And that sense of ownership is crucial. You know,
In what sense?
when people feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves,
Uh-huh.
something that they help create, their commitment and motivation go way up.
Because they're invested.
Exactly. And it also helps break down silos and encourages teamwork.
Oh, interesting.
It's no longer about individual agendas. It's about the collective good, guided by their shared why.
It sounds almost utopian.
It can be pretty powerful. And, remember that CEO we talked about earlier?
The one who discovered his purpose was empowering his employers.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of this.
Okay.
His shift in focus didn't just make him feel more fulfilled.
Right.
It actually led to measurable improvements in the business.
Right.
It's proof that purpose and profit can work together.
I love that it's like a win-win.
Exactly. And it reminds us that a company driven by purpose,
Yeah.
it can attract top talent, inspire customers, and ultimately achieve amazing things.
So powerful. But, okay, let's bring this back to our listener for a second.
Sure.
What if their company isn't doing this whole find your why thing?
Yeah,
Like, how can they apply these ideas to their own work life?
that's a really good question. And even if your workplace isn't focused on purpose,
Uh-huh.
you can still cultivate your own sense of why within your role.
Okay, so like a personal why within the context of your job.
Exactly. Start by reflecting on your own peak moments at work.
Those times when you felt most engaged and energized.
Exactly. What were you doing? Who were you working with? What values were at play?
Like a mini why discovery process just for your job.
Exactly. And once you understand your own why
Yeah.
at work,
Okay.
you can make these subtle shifts in how you approach things.
Like what kind of shifts?
Like how you view your tasks,
Yeah.
how you interact with colleagues, how you contribute to the team.
Interesting.
You bring your purpose to work with you every day,
Yeah.
even if the company as a whole isn't quite there yet.
It's like leading by example.
Exactly. And you never know, your passion and purpose might just inspire those around you.
Right, like a ripple effect.
Totally. You could be the catalyst for a larger shift.
That's a powerful thought. One person can really make a difference.
Absolutely. All right, so we've talked about how Find Your Why applies to teams and organizations.
Yeah, tons of good stuff.
But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to make sure we leave our listener with some concrete action steps.
Yes, please.
Things they can start doing right now.
Let's do it.
All right, so remember those peak moments we talked about?
Yeah.
Those times when you felt most alive and engaged?
Uh,
That's where the magic starts.
okay.
Take some time for reflection, even just like 15 minutes a day.
All right.
Jot down those moments, big or small, and really look for the patterns.
What were you doing? What needs were you meeting? What values were driving you?
Exactly. It's like creating a treasure map of your own experiences, leading you to that hidden gem.
Your why.
Exactly. And remember, as you uncover these insights, don't be afraid to challenge them.
Okay.
Your why can evolve as you grow and change. It's a journey, not a destination.
I love that. And speaking of journeys,
Yeah.
don't forget the power of a partner, you know?
Yeah, that's huge.
Someone you trust who's a good listener and can ask those insightful questions.
Yeah, someone who can offer a fresh perspective.
Totally. This could be a friend, a mentor, a colleague, whoever feels right.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to be vulnerable with them,
Okay.
Share those stories that have shaped you, both the good and the bad.
Yeah.
Vulnerability is not weakness, it's strength, especially in this process.
Love that. And how about some specific action steps for our listener who wants to bring their why to work?
Oh yeah, good one. So even if their company isn't like fully on board with this whole purpose thing,
Right.
you can still make it happen.
Okay, how?
Start by identifying tasks or projects that genuinely excite you. Things that align with those values and passions you're uncovering.
Okay.
If possible, focus more of your time and energy in those areas.
So, like, prioritize the stuff that lights you up.
Exactly. Be proactive. Seek out opportunities that resonate with your purpose, even within the confines of your current role.
It's about taking ownership and finding meaning in your own work.
Exactly. Even if the larger organization isn't quite there yet.
Right. And sometimes it's about those small, subtle shifts.
Yes.
Like how you view a task can make all the difference.
Totally. Instead of seeing it as just another item on your to-do list,
Uh-huh.
try connecting it back to your why.
How?
Ask yourself, how does this task contribute to my overall purpose? How does it impact others?
So it's like shifting from I have to I get to.
Exactly. And as you make these shifts, you might just find that work feels Less like a job and more like a mission.
A calling.
Yeah, a calling that aligns with your deepest value.
And imagine if more people started working with that kind of intention.
Oh, man, it'll be incredible. It could transform entire work cultures.
It's inspiring, isn't it?
It really is. And the best part is you don't have to wait for permission to start, you know.
Yeah.
You can be the catalyst, lead by example, bring your why to work every day.
I love that. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground in this part of our deep dive,
We have.
exploring how Find Your Why applies to teams and organizations.
Yeah, tons of great insights.
But before we wrap up, I want to make sure we leave our listener with some really concrete action steps.
Absolutely.
What are some things they can start doing right now?
That's exactly what we'll be focusing on in part 3.
Okay, awesome.
We're going to revisit all the key takeaways and offer even more practical guidance for starting your own why discovery journey,
Perfect.
whether it's for yourself, your team, or even your whole organization.
Love it. So stay tuned, deep divers.
Yes. The journey continues.
We'll be right back. Okay, so we've talked about the importance of Find Your Why and how it works for individuals and teams.
Lots of good stuff.
Now it's time for the nitty-gritty.
Let's do it.
How can our listeners actually put all this into action?
All right. Well, remember those peak moments we keep talking about?
Yeah.
Those times when you felt totally lit up.
Yeah.
That's where we want to start.
Okay.
So take some time, even just 15 minutes a day, and reflect on those moments.
Okay.
Jot them down, big or small, doesn't matter, and really look for those patterns.
Like, what am I noticing over and over?
Exactly what were you doing? What needs were you meeting? What values were shining through?
So it's like creating a map of my own experiences.
Yeah, like a treasure map leading you to your why.
I like that.
And as you're going through this, remember, your why can change and evolve.
Oh, right. It's not set in stone.
Exactly. It's a journey, not a destination.
I keep forgetting that.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
And speaking of journeys, remember how important a partner can be.
Oh, yeah. Having someone to talk to about all this.
Right. Someone you trust, a good listener, someone who asks good questions.
Someone who can give you a different perspective.
Yeah, someone who can see your blind spots.
So this could be like a friend or mentor.
Yeah, or a colleague even.
Okay.
Just someone who feels right for this process.
And don't be afraid to be vulnerable with them.
Oh, yeah. Vulnerability is key here.
You got to share those stories, the highs and the lows.
That's where the real gold is. And remember, vulnerability is not weakness. It's actually a huge strength, especially when you're trying to figure out your why.
Love that. Okay, so let's say our listener wants to bring their why to work.
Yeah.
But their company isn't really focused on this whole purpose thing.
That's a common situation.
So what can they do?
You don't have to wait for your company to jump on board.
Okay, good.
You can start by focusing on the things that light you up.
Within my job.
Yeah. Think about the tasks or projects that really excite you, the things that align with your values and passions.
So if my job has things that I love and things I hate, focus on the stuff I love.
Basically,
Yeah.
and if possible, try to dedicate more of your time and energy to those areas.
Okay.
Be proactive. Seek out opportunities that resonate with your purpose, even if you have to get a little creative.
So it's about taking ownership and finding meaning in what I do.
Exactly, even if the bigger picture isn't quite there yet.
And sometimes it's just about shifting my perspective.
Oh yeah, a little mindset shift can go a long way. Well, instead of seeing a task as just another thing on your to-do list, try connecting it back to your why.
Like, how does this thing I have to do connect to my bigger purpose?
Exactly. Ask yourself, how does this contribute? How does it impact others?
It's like reframing it.
Totally. And you might be surprised by how much that changes things.
So I can go from, ugh, I have to do this to, okay, this actually matters.
Right. And when you work from that place of purpose, it doesn't feel like a job anymore.
It's like a mission.
Yeah. A calling that aligns with your deepest values.
I love that. Imagine if everyone felt that way about their work.
It would be a whole new world.
It's pretty inspiring.
It is. And the best part is you don't have to wait for permission to start.
Right.
You can be the spark. You can lead by example just by bringing your why to work every day.
Love it. All right. Well, I think we've really unpacked Find Your Why in this deep dive.
I think so too.
We've explored its importance, the discovery process, and how to actually put it all into practice.
Yeah, and we've given our listeners some great tools to get started.
Exactly. So for everyone listening, remember, finding your why is a journey.
Yes, a beautiful journey.
It's about exploring who you are, what matters to you, and how you want to show up in the world.
It's about living a life that feels aligned, and authentic.
Exactly. So keep those peak moments in mind. Keep those conversations flowing.
And most importantly, never stop exploring.
Because who knows, your journey might just inspire others to find their why, too.
Absolutely.
That's it for this deep dive into Find Your Why. Keep diving deep, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.